You said you've been working with other artists, and the fact that we are creatives. Pretty much what you're saying is creative people are kind of difficult to work with, right?
Absolutely.
It's our nature, but that
Exactly.
we're misfits, and then by being artists, we realize that the fact that you're an artist makes you see the world, find the what's not right with the world, and trying to make it beautiful. That's the nature of an artist. But um, and the other question was, how do I feel about it? Did I learn something from it? Do I feel like I learned, and do I feel like I got something out of it? Yes. One of the Actually, this is a huge one, and Jose is a witness of to that. I used to struggle a lot thinking that people would not want to buy my stuff. And this is like some women that are there's some women that are gorgeous and they have image issues, right? There's some women that they hate themselves, or they say I'm ugly, whatever. They have body dysmorphia. Well, my dysmorphia is with my art. If you see my stuff, it's pretty good. It's really, really good, and it's actually world class because I've been to some of the best schools and teachers, and but I have a big issue when I see my stuff. Like I've struggled for the past 10 years. There's stuff that I see from school that I see today, and I go, "Damn, this is good," but back then I hated it, and it's been a whole year since we started, year and months of my coaching with Jose, and just started painting again, painting, and the art went from it became really good again, and now the issue was selling it. I was like, how who would want to pay this much for these, or how much, whatever much, however much. Now that I was there were people that wanted was it was work in progress, and they wanted to buy it because I made the mistake, and this was one of the issues at the gallery, to hang my work as I was working, because I have to be looking at it to see my progress. But when I was not at the gallery, the fact that I didn't put a tag that said work in progress, people went in and wanted to buy it. So I got in trouble because of that, because they were always asking, "Oh, is this on sale? Is this on sale? How much for these?" And they had to explain, "No, this is just his work." And or sometimes there was work that I was barely gonna put on the wall, and they already wanted it, so I had to make a tag on the fly because it goes into the registration, stuff like that. So the fact that people wanted to buy my work and they loved it, that was a big one. That was a huge one for me. It helped me relax and helped me see it as a gift. And Jose and I have been talking about how you cannot be selfish with your gifts, that they're meant to be seen, they're meant to, like, it's selfish if you don't, this type of thinking that people are not going to want it is actually selfish. So that was a huge win for me. That's a major breakthrough for me.
Would you actually mind elaborating on that? Because I struggle with that, like, extremely. And I think a lot of creatives do. And so if you identified that problem and you've overcome it, I mean, that within itself is huge. As a separate entity from the art itself, but as an artist as a creative to overcome that innate issue, that innate problem. I mean, if you could even just discuss that and share it somehow, some way, that will help a lot of people. But specifically, like, the reason I'm asking is I'm asking you directly. How was that for you? Because I struggle with that, and that's very interesting to me that you describe it as selfish. Um, because I sometimes think about it, but I can't for whatever reason, me personally, I cannot figure out how to overcome that.
The way I see it right now is this: imagine that you went to school, to medical school, and this is just I'm just thinking about it. You went to medical school. You went to school for what, 14, 15 years, whatever. You got in debt. You paid your dues. You put countless hours into it. Restless nights. Your parents helped you. They pushed you through. They gave you money for it. They fed you. There were so many people involved in this. And then you acquired a skill. The skill was to be a surgeon, right? But you keep thinking like, hey, but I'm not a good surgeon because there's these other people that are really good or that make this much money or that are younger because they did it. They graduated when they were 20, 22, something like that, like a prodigy or whatever. So it sucks. I hate it. I have the skill, but I don't know how to use it. And then you get on the plane one day, and you want to quit. By the way, you're like, no, I'm gonna study something else because this sucks. And then you get on a plane, and someone's having a heart attack, and they're asking, hey, we need someone. You know how they always ask, is there someone who knows how to do this or can help? And then imagine that the first answer you go, oh, no, because I'm not good at it. It would be, it would be moronic. Like that would be so dumb. Imagine the person dies, right? You would, you would probably be in trouble too. I don't know. I don't know the laws for that, but it would eat you for the rest of your life because you could have saved, even if you didn't want to be a surgeon. Even if you wanted to change careers, this is a skill that you acquired, and you could have used it there to save a life. In this case, the way I see it with art, who knows? Maybe someone will. You might save a life. You might save a spiritual life. You might save someone's soul. Uh, you never really know, especially for us with as men right now, like this moment. I was not gonna come here. Like I was not gonna. I would probably be in my house sleeping with depression and not even wanting to paint, whatever. So these, what we're doing in this case, Jose, it would be selfish if he has a gift and he keeps it from being seen. Um, Same with art. Same with, that's what our gifts are for, right? So sometimes we feel like we don't we're not good enough, or we don't want to share it because we don't feel, what's the word for it, we don't feel we're enough. But the selfish thing is to put it away. It's very, very selfish, I think, to come to this world, this life, and go through it and just keep it to yourself. At that point it is selfish, and you're not doing it out of being shy or being inadequate. At that point is just, in my opinion, for me, in my case, at that point is just pure selfishness.
If I can, if you don't mind, and I could probably cut this later. How old are you? How long you been doing this?
I'm 37. I've been doing, I've been painting for 31 years, taking classes and all that. Um, I started taking myself seriously as an artist about a year ago, like fully as an artist, because I used to say, no, I'm a designer, I'm a designer. But But I realized that people actually like what I do. And one of the main, I would say the main aha moments was when we connected dancing with art. That was a big one because then it was like it gave me a focus for my art. It gave me a big focus.
I was just thinking and reflecting on everything that you presented to me because this is you're speaking directly to me. Like everything that you just said is I associate with it. I resonate with it. I sympathize. I empathize. Um, I mean, I'm gonna have to think about this a lot because I mean, you're touching on something that I think is really resonant with a lot of people. Um, I don't remember specifically what you ended on, but one of the things that I did want to ask you, and this is kind of just, you know, for me, but I think it would be for a lot of people. Um, so you've been doing this for 31 years, you're 37 now. What are some things in reflection that you would have said to yourself at, I don't know, age 10, age 15, age 20, 25, 30? Uh, Looking back at it, like how would you speak to your younger self and other individuals at those stages in life, as a creative, with your experiences, with the way that you've grown and developed all of these ideas, and as an individual,
I'd,
if that made sense.
I'd say focus less on skill and more on putting the stuff out there. And the feedback, you don't give yourself, even if you're the expert, you consider yourself an expert. We are pretty bad at giving ourselves feedback on our own work. Everyone, including Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, uh, I don't know, Michael Phelps. I'm just thinking of Michaels. Everyone has a personal coach or trainer or something like that. Everyone. Um, Tiger Woods, right? Even if the person, let's say Mike Tyson, had his coach, and the coach wasn't even a boxer anymore, but he saved them. He he helped them, cuss them out, and why? Because he saw something that he couldn't see. So the feedback that we give ourselves, especially if we grew up in a very strict house or home or there's many reasons, right? But the feedback that we give ourselves is not accurate, and so we cannot judge our own work without putting it out there. Like the public gives you the feedback, the audience gives you the feedback. The fact that someone wants to buy it is feedback. The fact that someone, um I had a teacher once, and he told me he gave me a really good piece of advice, and he gave me a few ones, but he said, don't point out your mistakes. He was looking at a painting, and I said, oh, I forgot this and this, and he goes, you know what, if you hadn't pointed it out, I wouldn't even notice. So let the person find the mistake before you point it out. And then the other one was, when you get when you get good feedback, shut up and run with it. If you get a compliment, learn to receive a compliment and run with it. Shut up. Don't say why it's not, because You might think you're being humble, and you might think you're trying to improve or whatever, but you're just, again, you're just being selfish. You're just telling the person, no, this is what I think. No, you're wrong. No, this is not a pretty painting. No, like, who are you to say that? Who are you to take that away from that feeling from your audience? It's like, shut up, just let them enjoy it. Sometimes we don't even let the people enjoy our own work because we don't enjoy it, but that's not their problem. Going back to the gorgeous woman, and then you say, oh, that looks, I've seen it. I've seen some of the most beautiful women, and then you say, oh, that's a nice dress. Oh, but I'm fat here. Oh, but it looks bad here. Like, what? Who who did this to you? Who caused you so much damage that you can't even see it? Well, the same applies to us. I think so. Those 2 points are really important that I'm trying to live by. Learn to get feedback. Like, I mean, the feedback comes from your audience, not from you. And then when you get a compliment, don't be an asshole. Learn to receive it and run with it. Say thank you.
So what's your next step? Where do you go from here?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So I have a few options. That guy that got kicked out, he wants me to work with him too because he has some murals to do. He likes my work. He's here and he told me like, hey, you got a thorn. How we say it in Spanish? Have a tengo una espinita. Like, I have a thorn in stuck that I need to take out um with success. I guess is the translation. So there's those projects here in McAllen, but I'm also being offered. While I was at the gallery, I was working 3 days a week at a furniture store, and it's moving furniture, right? It's labor. It's like hard labor, but it's a wealthy family that are really well connected that ended up really liking me, and I like them a lot. And they say, hey, why don't you work here 4 days a week? That will give you enough to rent a place, to cover your basic needs, food, and all that. And we can sell your paintings they have a furniture store, actually two now. And they said we can sell them here. And these are people that, it's a power couple, right? They sell they sell anything to anyone. Uh, so why don't you sell those here? And you have enough time. You have 3 days a week to work on your paintings. So that's a good offer, I think. I'm thinking about it. I'm really. That's why I said I'm drifting because I don't know. I don't know what the. I don't know what the next step is. There's also a lot of people that that island has a lot of potential, and I'm honestly I'm a bit bitter about that. Like, I feel like I had a lot to give, and they didn't want it.
If I may interject, um, hey man, if they cast you out, they threw away an excellent opportunity. You know, you were really presenting good work, quality material, and they threw it away. That opens up opportunities for you. And as you were speaking prior to that last point that you made, I wanted to kind of bring up this idea, and this is something that I think about quite often. You know, you mentioned you were thinking about the furniture store. Hey man, when opportunity knocks, you gotta answer. You know, maybe you don't really think about it too much, but opportunity's knocking. You gotta answer. I mean, if you got knocks on your door left and right all the time, and you turn them all away, eventually people are just going to think you're not home anymore. So people aren't going to be knocking on your door. So
Right.
when opportunity knocks, even if it's short term, even if it doesn't amount to anything, you at least open the door. You gave it a shot.
Correct. And it would be at the same place, just with different people. So I'm thinking like maybe that's why I was at the gallery to know these people, right?
I want to add something else. I think you should next steps pretty simply. I mean, you mentioned art path. It's a really good idea, and like you mentioned earlier, sort of like what was it? I think there was a really good quote that you said, which was it's more important to put the work out than than it being perfect, something like that. The same approach that I take on. It's like if you have something, run with it. Stagnancy is gonna just kill you if you just stay there. And so you have art path, right? Like this idea to create a podcast, bro. Like it's so easy to get on a Zoom call or on a Google Meets call and record and then just post it. So that this guy that you met, that you're gonna be doing work for, you guys can connect on the fact of this whole situation. And I think you're probably not the only artist to have to deal with this. Dealing with individuals in power or systems in power in the art space who almost like care more about themselves than they do about the art. 'Cause that's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like just
Yes.
drama.
That's exactly what it was.
So then if you make a podcast on that, you're going to be talking to the individuals who are really struggling with these systems. But and so now you know you and him can present how you're dealing with it. He has a little more time doing what he does, but like having left, having been kicked out. Um but now you guys can talk about the struggle of dealing with these systems, and then that within itself is a great piece of content for your audience.
That's a really good idea. No, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, because um when I presented, for example, hey, I want to do one dance class. Remember, I talked about the dance lesson, and they
Oh yeah.
didn't want to do it because they didn't want to be sued by the people that if someone tripped or something like that. I was like, that's what's the point then? Then having it's a very rich family that doesn't want to get their name tarnished or whatever. So because of that, everyone just tries to tiptoe around them,
Yeah,
and so I think that's a so they're gatekeepers, right?
right.
And there's another group here in McAllen. They told me that it's these artists that actually get together, but they never work. They just get together to drink wine and have some snacks and talk about art. It's artsy, but there's no production of work. So this guy's like, ah, fuck them. So
Yeah,
this guy has that attitude, like, fuck them. I'm here to paint. Hey, let's paint. And they're like, no, we're talking about the movement of the art. And they're like, no, let's paint. That's a really good idea, man. I don't know why I didn't even think about it.
it's because you're just overthinking it, bro. I think I think it's
Okay.
fine. I got you though, because look, this is also another aspect that maybe you have to learn. It's a skill, and I just made a video about it, which is like I realized that business is a skill that everybody should know because it brings the power back to you. The moment that you learn business, is the moment you can begin to productize your knowledge and and create something sustainable. Because if not, you're gonna be depending on the systems, on these guys with the money to be able to sustain your vision or your desires. So it's marketing right now. What I'm talking about, it's really marketing and it's content, and content and marketing are very similar.
Uh huh.
Um, but for example, even the idea of doing the work and growing as an artist, a lot of artists think that they need to get put on, that they need to make it. But in reality, you got to put yourself on as an artist. Like what you were doing at the social dancing spots, that's great for marketing. It's also for brand. um, because you're connecting with individuals, and so if you're able to have these artists wear your shirts and you gain awareness to what you do, and it's really just about continuing to further that process. So like this podcast is also going to be your project, and nobody can tell you what you can or cannot say, who you can or you cannot invite. And at the end of the day, you're going to the people. You're not going to the individuals with the power. You're going to the individuals who will support you, who actually need your help. And there's another aspect that artists don't talk about, which is like there's the art and then there's the business of the art. And both of those things are things that you as an individual have to get really good at. So you have to get good at your craft, but you also have to get good at your marketing. And a lot of people don't want to do that. Um, it's like it's like this the that's where the starving artist is born, right? So so people don't want to hear it, artists don't want to hear it. Like that's why they sit down and talk and act all artsy. When in reality, it's going to be about strategy, business strategy, solving problems, actually serving individuals. Your art isn't just like, yes, it's helpful and it can help people, but also you as an individual, how do you help people? Like that's really uh, the end goal. So
Correct.
yeah,
Damn. Yes. Okay. There's a social tomorrow. I think I can prepare for it with the shirt and then ask. There's like 3 4 people here that want to do it. Like sit down and I have the tripod. I have the camera. I have one of the lights. Like and the guy, that guy, his name is Jimmy. Um, yeah, the people are actually waiting for it. They've been asking like, "Hey, when are we doing this?" So this really helps me refocus and put my e- effort into one thing only for now.
yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you, man.
Anything you want to add, Paul? And yeah, of course, bro, I got you. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you wanted to even spin it like this, it could be a separate podcast or it could be a segment. Call it the Starving Artist Podcast and just have other creatives on and just discuss the struggles of the artist, the creative, and it would give you opportunity to discuss your process and the way that you struggle with it. And you'd be able to promote your art. And then you'd have other artists come in, other creatives kind of discuss um, whatever it is that they do and kind of the stuff that they struggle with. And at that point, you're generating kinship, you're generating connection that a lot of people will associate with. I mean, every artist, every creative understands innately, very painfully, very acutely that, yeah, artists struggle. But if you create like a conversational podcast, not only would you be able to discuss with people in real time, people will be able to comment and kind of connect through the comments, through written discussions. Um, and so you very quickly unify a lot of creatives, and the side effect of that is often networking. Um, like I do a lot of poetry. I paint myself. I'll I'll post some of my stuff, and you'll see why why my stuff's not popular, because it's very bad. I still like it. Like it means a lot to me, but it is bad. Um, but nobody could take that from me. It's my stuff. I did it for me, and it served its purpose for me. Um,
Right.
and that will make sense once you see it. But to network, I speak a lot with a lot of blue collar artists, which is very different from kind of like the high minded society forms of art. Uh, I hang out with crust punks, and we make very crude music. A lot of American blackened metal. It's very harsh. It's very distorted. It's very gritty. Um, but it's creation for people like us, and to generate connection in that regard. And I think Jose and I think we had this conversation where when you get creatives together, let's say somebody writes a piece and a musician sees it, um, they say, "Hey, I saw your poem and it inspired me, and so I wrote a melody." Let's say an animator sees that connection and they say, "Hey, I saw this poem and I saw the melody, and I'm an animator, so I just put an animation in the background." And then another person, it's like, "Hey, I'm a lyricist, and I saw what you guys did, and here's what I made with it." And then you got musicians and other people, and just very quickly you could synthesize. I think it's not exactly, but I like the abstract concept, exquisite corpse. If you're familiar, if you've ever heard that term,
No.
artists. Oh, yeah. So exquisite corpse. Oh, I'm kind of leaving my purview here, but I think like the actual term refers to if you're creating a picture of a person. Um, One artist is only tasked with creating the head, and they only see like the neck, and so the next person who has the torso, they have to create only off of that last portion of the neck. And then so the next artist will have the task of creating the arms, but they only see like the shoulder joints. And so they form their own pieces, the arms onto just that connection. And then the
Yeah.
next person has legs. And so you have multiple artists creating a unified picture, but it's only based off of a very limited aspect. And so when you put it all together, I think if I'm understanding correctly, that is the concept of exquisite corpse. But you
Okay.
see this in animation, um, where somebody will only see like the either the previous segment or just the tail end of the segment, and they have to continue the story. I think in theater, this is called the yes and. It's been a very long time since I've dealt with theater of any sort, but if I'm remembering correctly, the yes and is somebody will react and do something, and you have to immediately follow it up with like, "Yes, I'm following along, and here's the next continuation," and then it goes to the next person and so on. Um, that could be very cool, and it would snowball very, very quickly. And I feel like it would be very lucrative if anybody were to do this. And, even if somebody does it, other people can also do it autonomously. And that is how you could potentially generate like a new renaissance of creativity and artistry. And it doesn't necessarily all have to be connected, but it's creating like a broader ecosystem of art, of creativity. And so, if I had to guess, like my creativity, my art's probably very different from yours. And so it might not mesh, but they could be separated and they could be parallel, and they can complement
That's
and contrast very uh, meaningfully. It could be very cool, and it could be very quick.
that's a pretty good idea, and it can have many spins, different spins. Can put a spin on it. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it all
Uh,
starts at the seed, right?
Say that
All
again.
starts at this. It all starts with a seed, right? And
Yes.
let's say you have just a handful of seeds. You don't necessarily know what any of the seeds are, but you plant them and you nurture them and you cultivate them,
Yes. Yes.
and very
Yes.
quickly you have a diverse garden. And you won't necessarily know the plants by the seeds. You'll only know them by their fruits. And there's something to that. There's something very profound, very transcendent. Like it's an emergent property.
Sorry. So I came at a store. Um, That's a lot of insight. The Hey Jose, look, I gotta go soon because they're waiting for me. But I was gonna say, Jose and Paul, thank you so much. I think this is like a big boost for me compared to how I was doing 2 days ago. Gave me a ton of ideas, and I'm glad to have help, even if it's a little bit, with Paul. And I see the purpose of this. Yes, Jose, you were right. I was wrong. I was actually overthinking.
Yeah, bro, I got you. I'm glad that you showed up, man, and yeah, I'm glad you found this beneficial. And then the next call, hopefully you can be on Monday. Um,
Okay.
keep on meditating because that's gonna help you with your organization and your sense of um direction. And then yeah, the ideas are there, just gotta act on them.
I'm gonna do the magnets very soon. The magnet therapy.
Oh, you
My
are?
mom did it, and she had a big pain in her neck, and it's gone after 2 sessions. So I'm gonna go very soon. I'll let you know how that goes.
Is it biomagnetic therapy?
It's yeah, like they your feet are misaligned, and then they put the magnets. Yes.
Okay, because I do that too. I was gonna ask. I'm curious to know about how they do it, and then because I'm looking to see how I can get clients too. But
Okay.
yeah, let me know how it goes.
All right,
Did you know
man.
I did that or no?
Say that again.
Did you know that I do that?
You told me about it. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. All right.
There's all right.
All right, man. I'll see you
You
later.
guys, you guys have a good day.
Before you go, I just want to like add this. I'm very interested to get updated about this. Keep us updated, and even if you don't think much of it, and hey, it's kind of like what you said, right? Um, I'm not sure I agree. I'm gonna have to think about this more, but it's kind of like what you said with the selfish idea. Keep us updated. I'm gonna be listening. I'm excited. Like I think you're onto something very big here. And hey, man, you do it. I'll be right there with you. And so I'm waiting. I'm waiting, and I'm very excited about this. So keep at it and update us and do whatever. Just let other people know, and
Yeah.
you'll have people there. Very
Awesome.
excited. Very much looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, guys. Like I really needed this.
Hey, it's
I
good to
will.
see you again, man. It's been a
It's
while.
yes. It's good to see you too. You guys have a great day.